This video is about text and text frames in InDesign. Now, unlike Illustrator and Photoshop, you can't grab the text tool and just click once and have point text because everything has to be in frames. So you have to actually click and drag out a box. Now I'm going to go to type, fill with placeholder text, just to give me some text to have in here. So when I go to my black arrow, right, as I can change this, you'll notice, right, just like any area text, text reflows. Now notice that if the text reflows and it's chopped off outside of that, you get this little red thing. So you can go ahead and draw another text box. And what we can do is click on this red arrow here, and you'll notice that it looks like text is loaded in your cursor, and then you go ahead and click into the place that you want to have it flow. So now you see, right, I can have text flow if it needs to into that second box. Now I don't need that box. I'm going to just go ahead and get rid of that. So looking at all the things we have now, notice that if we don't have the text tool selected, our top is in all the transform type things. So you need to make sure you have your text selected. And up here, this is the character palette, and then right below it, if you click on this is the paragraph settings. So right now, let's just stay in the character settings, right, and we can change our font, right? So if I want to change it to a font called Archer, right, if I want to find more, this would go into the activate Adobe fonts kind of thing, but let's not bother with that. Let's just stay in fonts. Right, I can change the style here. So if I want it to be semi-bold, italic, you know, it depends on what the font has. Next to it, we set the font size, right? Normal reading text is probably going to be somewhere in the 10-point range. Leading is right under that, right? So setting our distance between lines of text. And then there's various other things, right? All the same things that we had before. All caps. We can change our tracking. We can put our cursor in between two things and change the kerning. Again, this stuff you can do with the arrows still. So everything we learned already in this. Probably don't want to play with these things. We don't want to be squishing and stretching text. This starts to pop up depending on your screen size, but that actually all lives on this next one here. So let's look at this right here. We can set our various alignments. So this is just left align line, center line, right aligned. This is justification. So justification means having your text go edge to edge. And really there's just three flavors of how the bottom line actually winds up getting done. These two actually are justification or not justification, that's a line away from the spine. We don't have facing pages, so we don't really have to worry about that. But let's just leave that in left align. Next to it, we have various types of indentations and spaces for paragraphs. And these will become important. For instance, I think the most important thing, well, let me just teach you a little bit about typography. When we have two paragraphs, we generally use one of two methods. We'll either indent the first, right, our first area here. So we see, right, we see that it's the indent there. Or we will, oops, I gotta select that. We will have space after. So after this, maybe I'll put 9 there. And so we'd have the space after. You should never use both. That's actually bad typography. You only ever use one or the other. Technically, too, if you're going to use the text indent, you actually don't indent the first one. So you can just put this on individual paragraphs. So what I would do is probably, you know, put it on all the paragraphs, right? Put the indent in on all the paragraphs. You know, not have space after. And then just put my cursor in the paragraph I want to affect and just change that to 0. And so you see here now this first paragraph starts here, right? Probably you're not going to need that for us, but if you're ever doing typesetting a longer piece, you would need to know this. We're not going to probably need it for our resume. What else can I tell you about this? Another thing is that Illustrator or InDesign has various things like you can put in drop caps. You can automatically turn things into bullets and lists. We're going to do that in a different talk online. But the last thing is thinking about these, that it's in a frame. and then I'll make a separate one for text frame options, is I can go to my white arrow tool, just like in Illustrator, and manipulate those Bezier points or anchor points to make our text go any shape we want. Text can be again, you can just place text in pretty much any shape you want here. So if I put this ellipse here and go to type and say, I guess I gotta turn that into a thing here. Hold on. Now I lost myself here. Well, just trust me, I don't want to make this video too long. You can put text inside any shape you want. So the next video we'll do text box options.